The jungle had been quiet for millions of years, but one day the ancient giants awakened, and it was time for them to reclaim their throne. Suddenly, without any warning, the sky trembled, as if gods were fighting in the heavens themselves. People looked up, confused, as the ground shook violently. It was unlike anything they'd ever experienced before. Then it appeared at the edge of the trees, something so huge that it seemed to blot out the sun. Its roar echoed through the valleys, shaking the very foundations of the nearby village. It was a dinosaur, a real live dinosaur. It was a Tyrannosaurus Rex, its sharp teeth bared in a silent snarl. Towering over the surrounding trees, its eyes fixed on the distant village. With a flick of its powerful tail, the earth trembled again. The people stared in disbelief as the impossible creature approached. Their lives would never be the same again. No one knew how the dinosaurs returned. It was unlike they'd been discovered in amber and brought back to life through some mad science experiment. There were no headlines about secret labs or fossil finds. They simply reappeared, as if the earth itself had regurgitated them from some deep recess of time. Their emergence triggered earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and tidal waves, as if the planet was convulsing in pain or anger. And then they were here, stepping out of the mists of the past into the harsh glare of the modern world. Panic spread like wildfire as the news broke. People ran through the streets, desperately seeking refuge. Cars screeched to a halt, abandoned in the middle of the road. The airwaves crackled with reports of the incredible creatures roaming the earth once more. It was every child's nightmare come to life, straight out of a movie screen and into reality. But the nightmares weren't limited to just the T-Rex. Every corner of the globe became a Jurassic Park. In some places, herds of herbivorous dinosaurs grazed peacefully, stripping farmers' fields bare in minutes. In others, packs of carnivorous predators stalked through the undergrowth, hunting with the efficiency of seasoned killers. Flying reptiles soared through the skies, casting huge shadows over cities. People could only watch in awe and terror as these airborne monsters glided effortlessly overhead. They were magnificent, terrifying, and utterly alien in a way that seemed to mock human ingenuity. They were living relics of a bygone era. Governments activated emergency protocols, but what good were missiles against creatures that had survived multiple mass extinctions? What use were tanks against hide and armor? Humanity was pushed to the brink, forced to confront creatures that had ruled the earth before man even existed. It was an unequal battle, a David and Goliath struggle between the modern world and the primeval titans. But mankind refused to surrender. We dug in our heels and held on. We developed new technologies, new weapons, and most importantly, we adapted. Within a year, most large cities had fallen, not because they couldn't defend themselves, but because they couldn't stop the dinosaurs from entering. Entire armies were wiped out by single creatures. Tanks and fighter jets were rendered useless against such ancient power. For the first time in history, humans were the prey and dinosaurs were the predators. Life as we knew it ended abruptly and completely. Society collapsed, economies crumbled, and the balance of power shifted dramatically. The dinosaurs were back, and there was no denying it. Scientists scratched their heads in bewilderment. They couldn't explain how the dinosaurs returned. Genetic research revealed no answers. Fossils offered no clues. It was as if the creatures had materialized out of thin air, defying all scientific understanding. The world was in chaos, unsure of what to do, how to react. Fear turned to fascination and then to acceptance. The dinosaurs were here to stay. Humans learned to navigate their presence, avoiding their territories, studying their behavior, and adapting to their whims. Within 2 decades, new maps were drawn. Cities became restricted zones, while open areas were designated as dinosaur reserves. It was a strange division of space, a bizarre coexistence between the old and the new. Living amidst such magnificence and power was humbling. Humans realized they were not the pinnacle of evolution, but merely a blip in the grand scheme of things. They built their lives around the dinosaurs. Communities formed within the reserves, learning to coexist with the giants. Life took on a new rhythm, dictated by the needs and habits of the dinosaurs. It was a delicate balance, a constant negotiation between the demands of survival and the wonder of living in a prehistoric world. Children were taught to react to volcanic eruptions, meteor showers, and the sudden appearance of massive creatures. Dinosaur behavior was studied in detail. People learned to read their signs, their movements, their vocalizations. Coexistence meant understanding and respecting their neighbors from the past. They even trained some dinosaurs to work alongside them. Larger dinosaurs were taught to pull heavy machinery, transport goods, and clear debris. Their strength was harnessed for construction and exploration. Nature was taking its revenge on humanity. It wasn't just the physical presence of the dinosaurs that was overwhelming. It was also their sheer scale. These creatures dwarfed anything humans had ever imagined. Seeing a brachiosaurus stretch its impossibly long neck to feed on high branches was humbling. Witnessing a stegosaurus lumbering through the landscape left one feeling tiny and insignificant. Everywhere they went, the dinosaurs were a constant reminder of their own mortality, of their place in the grand cycle of life. They were both revered and feared. The idea of extinction was no longer a distant concept. It was a lived reality. Years turned into decades, and the world adapted. It wasn't the same world that the dinosaurs had left behind, but it wasn't a new one either. It was a strange blend of the familiar and the prehistoric. Cities were rebuilt, incorporating the dinosaurs into their design. Parks and green spaces became central hubs where humans and dinosaurs shared the landscape. The lines between past and present blurred, creating a unique tapestry of existence. It was a world where humans and dinosaurs shared the stage, where the ancient giants were not just relics of the past, but active participants in the present. A century passed. The world was still in recovery. Many parts of it remained stuck in the Mesozoic era, though humanity pressed on. They uncovered cures to diseases by studying ancient DNA. They integrated dinosaurs into their food chain. Smaller dinosaurs were domesticated and raised on ranches. Strange hybrids of domestic animals and dinosaurs roamed the land. Farmers developed new techniques to protect their livestock from predators. They created special enclosures to shield crops and livestock from dinosaur attacks. Humans learned to appreciate the dinosaurs' intelligence. Many species displayed remarkable problem-solving skills and social complexity. They recognized the dinosaurs' rights to exist, to thrive, and to co-inhabit the planet. Humans developed advanced technology to monitor and study the dinosaurs. Sophisticated equipment allowed them to track their movements, monitor their health, and understand their behavior. They established communication networks to warn of approaching predators or other dangers. It was a continuous effort to stay one step ahead of the giants. They lived in harmony, learning from each other. Humans marveled at the dinosaurs' resilience and adaptability. They studied their defense mechanisms, their hunting strategies, and their social structures. Dinosaurs, in their own way, seemed to acknowledge the humans' tenacity. They respected their ability to innovate, their spirit of survival, and their sheer determination to carve out a niche in a world dominated by giants. It was a relationship of mutual respect and understanding. They learned to coexist, to share the earth without disturbing the delicate balance that held their world together. They celebrated the diversity of life, the grandeur of nature, and the resilience of the human spirit. The world had changed, but life, in its many forms, continued to persist, adapt, and evolve. The dinosaurs were back, and they were here to stay. They were a reminder of the planet's rich history, testament to the power of nature, and a challenge to the limits of human endurance and ingenuity. It was a world where humans and dinosaurs were not just neighbors, but partners in the grand adventure of life. The earth rumbled once more, but this time it was not a prelude to destruction, but a lullaby of coexistence.